Ladies, if you're watching this, if there's a man that resembles any of these four men I'm going to be discussing over the past few weeks, cut him off and run for the hills. Then he would begin to tell me things like, I don't like black women, I only like white women, I don't like dark-skinned women. He would just say things like that to try to like play with my head. I promise you on my part, I'm not interested. I don't want that. Like, I'm not attracted to anybody that's not interested in me, like, period. It's kind of like it was a desperation thing. So the more uninterested he acted, the more I wanted to like make him interested in me. Whereas now, you not interested, like, I'm definitely like, I'm damn sure not interested. Are we on a date? We on a date? So we go up to the counter and then I notice Joey pulls out his money and just pays for Joey. What's going on? I hope everybody has been doing well. I know I've been on a little hiatus, but this video today has got me like we about to get into some things, okay? In this video today, I'm gonna be talking about my past toxic relationships. The relationships I'm gonna be discussing today are pretty much from 5-10 years old, so I am completely healed from the trauma, the disrespect, everything like that. I'm completely healed, thank you, Jesus. These are relationships where I was not walking completely hand in hand with Jesus, so I let a lot of stuff slide. I was living in the world, living in sin, pretty much had no boundaries, didn't know my worth, anything like that. I was so desperate to just have somebody that I just let anything slide. This is gonna be one of a 4-part series of my toxic relationships from my past. We're gonna be exposing everything and just looking back because I've grown so much. I'm single right now, but I know what I want, I know what I need, I know what I'm not gonna tolerate, I know my deal breakers, and these 4 men on this series, okay, like I'm blown away that I let any of this stuff slide. I'm a woman of God first, so I don't want y'all to think that I'm gossiping or trying to drag these men down or anything like that. These were young men, by the way, so from ages 18 up into like 24. Like I said, this stuff happened like 5-10 years ago, so you know, we're not judging or anything like that. I'm gonna try to do this where I'm not like dragging their names or anything like that. We're gonna try to do this in a clean way. For context here, I'm gonna be 28 in October. I'm not gonna go too deep, but some of these were physical relationships, and like I said, I was living more in the world, not living by God's word, so we won't go like too explicit or anything like that, but some of these were like just more physical relationships. 2 of the men in these series were like actual boyfriends, but y'all gotta stay tuned to hear about these men. Well, the 4 men are Joey, Bill, Mike, and Thomas. These are just, I tried to think of the most basic names I could think of, so we're not, you know what I'm saying, getting too close. I'm gonna try not to let their names slip. The first candidate we're gonna be starting with is Joey, and this relationship was in 2015, my senior year in high school, and we're gonna be discussing all of this while I do my makeup. Let's get started. Okay, so I always start off with brows, so that's what we're gonna be doing first, and we're gonna get into Joey because I would say Joey was definitely the worst out of all 4 of these men. And Joey was not a boyfriend. He was somebody I met in high school. You know what I mean? It was like just a physical attraction type of relationship. And I just knew off rip that Joey was a bad boy. For context, ever since I had my first crush when I was 5 years old, and literally, y'all, I was still living in Queens, okay? For background, to know a little bit about me, I'm originally from Jamaica, Queens, and I moved to the Pocono Mountains, Pennsylvania when I was like 6 years old. I was literally 5 years old, and my crush lived on the block. I feel like he was like maybe a year older than me or so, and I just remember like literally staring out my grandma's window, like watching him walk to school. I was like literally obsessed with this little boy, and he was a bad boy, and I just, for some reason, I don't know why, that's just something I've always been into for some reason. So like I'm telling you, this is my first crush, first interaction with a boy. He was a bad boy. He literally, my family was like, stay away from him, don't play with him. that's kind of why I guess Joey and probably even boys before Joey, like I said, Joey's a physical relationship. All the boys beyond Joey were not, maybe they were a little physical, but when I say physical, like, you know what I'm talking about. I knew off rip Joey was like that type of guy. Joey was showing signs of interest in me when I had a boyfriend. He knew I had a boyfriend, and he would be showing signs that he was interested in me. And you know, I was just cool with him or whatever. I wasn't really flirting or anything like that. I was just being like cool with him or just talking like briefly. It wasn't anything too crazy or anything like that, because like I said, I had a boyfriend. So fast forward, I lost the boyfriend. My boyfriend breaks up with me. Joey knew that my boyfriend and I had broken up. I think we exchanged numbers like after my boyfriend broke up, because it was kind of like this thing where we were both attracted to each other, but like I said, we didn't cross no boundaries because I had a boyfriend. So after my boyfriend breaks up, we end up exchanging numbers, like texting, and he would be, you know, flirting with me and saying just all these comments about my body and everything like that. I just liked the attention. I knew this was somebody that was never gonna pursue me or ask me to be his girlfriend or anything like that. So but I really feel like I was in my feelings because, you know, I went through like this really hard breakup at the time, and then after that breakup, it was maybe like a year later or something like that, I was just kind of just wanting some sort of attention. So I'm like, okay, you know, this is probably not gonna go anywhere. Like, he's probably not gonna ask you to be his girlfriend or anything like that. And mind you, y'all, again, this was my senior year, so I was 18. We start like texting and everything like that. He's flirting with me and I'm just like sucking it all up. I start to notice, like, I kind of knew, I didn't really know much about Joey. Like, we kind of just had like a brief little relationship or whatever, hi bye. You know, it was very brief. He was like quiet or laid back or whatever, and I like those kind of guys that are kind of more like cool, laid back, whatever. I've never liked guys that are just loud or the center of attention or annoying or joke, like class clown jokesters. Like, that's not my type of guy at all. I don't want anybody that's gonna try to overtalk me, outshine me, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I want you to take the lead, but I don't want anybody who is like just doing too much like that. That's annoying. So anyways, this guy was kind of like, he was one of those like chill type of guys or whatever, and I liked that. So I'm like, okay, you know. But I started to notice like Joey had like a little attitude problem, and I'm like, what is your problem? You know what I'm saying? So he just had an attitude problem, and these were like the first red flag signs where I kind of just ignored it. But I low-key noticed, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't like this. But again, I'm still, hold on, I don't like how my hair looks like this, really. Maybe if I like put it back. I don't like how this is up like that. Anyways, yeah, I was still talking to him, and I don't know why, because like I said, he was rude. Anyways, we keep kind of just keeping in contact with each other, even though, like I said, he was rude. And I don't know what I found appeasing or interesting about this guy, because he just kind of had weird energy. Like, yes, he had that little, like, that cool guy, laid back vibe or whatever, but you know, there was points where we would speak on the phone. We would go on like FaceTime audio and be just like talking on the phone. And these were school nights, y'all. Like, me and this guy would be on the phone on school nights for like from like 10 p.m. to like 1 o'clock in the morning. And mind you, I used to wake up at like 4 a.m. or 4:30 in the morning to do my makeup for school. I would be doing like not like full beats like I do now, but I was doing like my eye makeup. I think I was wearing face makeup, I don't know. But I would be waking up mad early to do my makeup for school. So I was on the phone with this guy like for a minute. I just started to notice like he was super rude and sarcastic, and he was really he would just lie about like the dumbest things. I did not like that. And he would just say derogatory things to me. First of all, this was like another big major red flag. He would ask me like, are you bi? Do you like girls? And I'm like, no. I said I'm straight and I like men. I'm a Christian, so I don't condone homosexuality. You know, I don't judge because God says not to judge, but I live by the Bible and God says that it's man and woman, period. He's like, oh, that's so like attractive or something like that, like some nonsense. Not really persuade me, but kind of. He was trying to live out like some sort of fantasy or something like that. So he's like, oh, I think that's so hot. So that was the first red flag. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not with that. I'm straight. Then he would begin to tell me things like, I don't like black women. I only like white women. Mind you, this was a black guy. He was just super light skinned. Like, you're still black. I don't care what complexion you are, you're still black. His parents were black, like you're a black man. So he's like, I don't like black women. I don't like dark skinned women. Saying pretty much everything I am. Like, clearly I'm a black woman. Clearly I'm dark skinned. So it's kind of like he was manipulating me, but still trying to like use me for his gain. Like, he was clearly just after me and my body. That was clear from day one, but like I said, I ignored it. But he would just say things like that to try to like play with my head. So things with Joey and I, you know, it started off kind of just like flirtatious or whatever. But then we began to link up in person and, you know, it became physical. And again, y'all know what I mean by physical. When things started to become physical between Joey and I, he would always make me feel like I was enough verbally or physically. It's like everything that went wrong, like physically, so to speak, was my fault. Gosh, I don't want to be too like explicit. Pretty much things that he was lacking physically, he would blame it on me, like it would be my fault. Like real narcissistic type vibes, again, with the brainwashing with this guy. Back then, I didn't know that. I was like 18 years old, so I didn't know that. I'm just like, you know, he's showing me attention, like, you know what I'm saying, everything like that. This man was never nice to me at all. Like, he's never said anything nice to me. His attitude sucked. He could care less about me, and that's one thing that I do not do with these men. You could be laid back as you want to be. Like I told you, I don't mind the chill, laid back guy, but when you're not showing interest, you're not showing no type of effort, you act like you could take or leave me, you're confused about me, you don't know if you want me or this one or that one. I promise you, on my part, I'm not interested. I don't want that. Like, I'm not attracted to anybody that's not interested in me, like, period. The fact that you're not interested in me, like, I'm not interested. So, but back then that wasn't the case. It's kind of like it was a desperation thing. So the more uninterested he acted, the more I wanted to like make him interested in me. Whereas now, you're not interested, like, I'm definitely like, I'm damn sure not interested. Let me get to my makeup, and I'm gonna try something different today. This is gonna be a longer video, but I'm gonna try something different today with my makeup. But yeah, he would literally, hold on, let me, before, during, or after these physicalities, Joey would tell me things like, you know, like just derogatory stuff, and I'm just like taking it in like a freaking idiot. Like, mind you, ladies, if you're watching this, if there's a man that resembles any of these four men I'm going to be discussing over the past few weeks, cut him off and run for the hills, like legitimately, because he's a no, and he's very toxic. He would tell me things like, you're too skinny, you need to eat burgers, shakes, and fries so you could get a fat ass. And I'm just like, I start questioning myself, because I thought my shape was fine, like I was fine with my body. So, you know, I go home and start looking in the mirror and questioning myself, and I'm like, okay, am I too skinny? Like, do I need a bigger butt? Like, all of this stuff, I'm questioning who I am because of what some idiot is telling me. That, and mind you, this is not even my man, like, at all. This is literally, there was no commitment. We made one commitment that the physicality was just between us. Like, he wasn't gonna be physical with nobody else, and I wasn't gonna either. That was our only commitment, which he ends up breaking, but I'll get into that later. He would just tell me derogatory stuff like that. I have no freaking idea why I was still entertaining this man. That's all of what this relationship was. Y'all can see where this is going. around the time things had started getting physical with Joey, it was around senior year, prom time. He's single, I'm single, we're both single. And him and I were both wondering about prom, you know, if we're going, everything like that, right? So the last I hear, he's not going to prom. You know, he just tells me he's not going to prom. So I'm like, okay, I think I might go, but I'm not really sure if I'm gonna go. And then I'm like, I want a date, but I want like a hot date, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that at the time because, again, Joey's not pursuing me. Joey's using me for my body. He's not pursuing me. So he's the last person on my mind that I'm thinking is gonna even ask me to prom. I'm gonna put this on my lid and set it because I'm using color today. Anyways, come to find out, he has a prom date. And I'm like, what? You told me, in my head, I'm like, you told me you're not going to prom. You told me you're not going. And if you are going, why are you not asking me? Getting hungry, so I took a quick dinner break. We got organic quinoa, organic kale, organic mushrooms, and onions. I was gonna add tuna to this, but I didn't feel like doing that. So anyways, here we go. Get you some kale in your life, people. Okay, so back to my story. So, yeah, I'm like, now you have a prom date. When you told me you were not going to prom, you would think the woman that you're using for her body, you would think you could at least have the decency to consider her as a prom date or even ask her. So I was like, ew, like what? And my dumb behind is still entertaining him after he did that disrespectful nonsense. Unfreaking believable. This is what I tell you, ladies. Do not have low self-esteem like that. Do not have low value like that. I've learned as an almost 28-year-old, I will be by myself forever if I ever have to deal with a man that does not value me, my time, my body, my relationship with God. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I was always a believer in Jesus, but I was not walking hand in hand and living for him. So this is why I was disrespected to this level, because I did not love or value myself. So after that, like I said, I was still entertaining Joey after that. And after high school, you know, we're still keeping in contact, and he's still just hitting me up like a freaking booty call. And you know, I'm dumb enough to still keep going along with it, which I do not. You guys, I cannot tell you why. I cannot tell you why. There was not one positive thing about these link ups. Okay, they were uncomfortable. In all ways, they were uncomfortable. He was just, there was no connection. Like, he was just such a cold person. And when I would speak on the phone to Joey, like I said, when we were still in high school and we kind of started getting to know each other over the phone, you know, we had, still wouldn't even say a connection, but like we would be having conversations. But like I said, he would be really just rude and sarcastic, and just, he would literally hang up on me. Like if I said something I guess he didn't agree with or was just ready to get off the phone. You know how iPhone has that little oop, oop? I would just hear that out of nowhere. You know, I live in a mountain, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's the service, maybe it's the reception, but it'll say call failed. If your call fails, like no, it would be call ended. And I'm like, okay. And then it would just be left like that. So I'm like, okay, you hung up on me for no reason. I don't know why you hung up on me. When you're insecure like that too, it's just like everything is about looks and physicalities and everything like that when you're just young and dumb, so to speak. Not trying to offend myself or anyone. But, you know, that's literally all it was physicality. I thought he was just so cute or whatever, but his personality was complete trash. Like, it really was, and I knew it. Joey and I kept linking up. Now it's summertime, and you know, we're fresh out of high school. We think we grown and cute and everything like that. And you know, Joey had a car, I had a car. My father had just bought a car for my sister and I. So he has a car, I have a car. We think we're grown or whatever, so we're linking up and having these physicalities and just chilling, quote unquote. And everything is just at his crib. This is when the Netflix and chill phrase was coined back in like 2015. Because, you know, Netflix was out, but I feel like it really got popular around like 2015. Like that's when streaming and everything like that started to become popular. Because before that, streaming was low-key, I don't want to say it was illegal, but it was kind of just like more pirated, and you know, people were still doing DVDs and just TiVo demand and stuff like that. So Netflix became like pretty big to me. At least that's when I was put onto it. That's when the high school people were put onto it. So yeah, so we were doing the Netflix and chill thing. I was like, he did not want to introduce me to his family, hiding me, sneaking me, just treating me like I'm an embarrassment. And I even think I pressed him about that. I'm like, I don't know if I said, are you embarrassed of me? But I was just like, why are you hiding me? Like, what is the problem? So one time, Joey and I go out to the movies. We meet at the movies. You know, I'm like, okay, maybe this is actually a date. Maybe Joey's actually like taking me out. So we get to the movies, and of course everything is just like tense and awkward with him because I said he's like a cold person. We have no connection as it is. He's rude. Even when we're having these physicalities, there's no connection. I'm just like, it's weird. So anyways, it's weird when we get to the movie theaters because now it's like we're in public together, and you know, I'm looking cute. I'm beautiful. Like I'm looking cute. My hair's done, my makeup's done. Like I look good. So I'm like, okay, why are you acting weird? Like what? So we go to the freaking movie theater. We go up to the counter to pay for the tickets, and I'm like, are we on a date? Are we on a date? So we go up to the freaking counter, and then I notice Joey pulls out his money and just pays for Joey. And I'm like, again, feeling awkward because I'm like, I thought this was like a date. This is so cringy to even talk about, like, honestly, y'all. We walk away from the line, and I don't even think I brought money. And my father always told me, like, if you go out with one of these guys, always make sure you have money, because not everybody's gonna be a gentleman and pay for you. That's one thing I never have to worry about when I'm with my father or any man in my family. They know the vibes, okay? If you're out with a woman, you pay for her. Apparently, I wasn't even on Joey's radar at all, but you're using me for other things, but you can't even pay for a movie ticket. We get off the line. I'm like, I thought you were gonna pay for me. He's like, I only have enough money for myself. And I'm like, okay. So I think I end up going up and like using my credit card. No, I didn't even pay for myself. He's like, I can sneak you in. I probably had my credit card, and I was working at the time. I just really think I didn't want to pay for myself. So he ends up going to the theater and then like going through with his ticket or whatever, coming like from the back door or something like that, where it's like he let me in from the back side, and then I was able to sneak in the theater. And I'm just like, you're corny. Like you really could afford to pay for me. You just didn't want to. Like you thought that little of me, you couldn't even pay for me to see the movie. So anyways, we go into the theater. Of course, there's more physicalities, but just empty physicality. This is the Revolution palette, and I'm going in with Iceberg. I'm never really precise with my eyeshadows. I just like grungy looks, like dark brown grungy looks, but I'm like, let me be a little more creative tonight. But literally, I have not filmed a makeup video since like 2017 or 18 probably, when I had my channel with my twin sister. But Anyways, back to the story. So yeah, Joey had me dead tight. I was angry, I was embarrassed, and this really should have been my last straw with Joey, but of course it wasn't. I'm not really remembering what happened after the movie. That's kind of drawing a blank for me for some reason. Probably like a little hiatus between him and I at that point. Maybe we went to his crib after that, but I really don't remember. Like I said, let me use my finger because this is not, those are bum moves. Those are disrespectful moves. And you know, he was just disrespectful, just period, from the moment I met him. But there's more. Okay, so still looking crazy, but I'm realizing that packing the shadow on, and this is how y'all know I have not done like creative eyeshadow in a minute, because I was just like swiping it because that's what I'm used to. Like this, it's actually sticking to the base, so you just kind of want to pack if you're doing color. So if you're trying to get maximum pigment or you're using like a bright color, you want to pack instead of swipe. After that whole movie disaster, Joey and I of course are still interacting with each other. It was some sort of attachment or soul tie that was being formed because, you know, we were doing physicalities. He would always just be insulting my intelligence and like trying to put me down and just tell me I wasn't smart, and this guy was just so verbally abusive. It was crazy. He literally verbally abused me several times. If I was standing up for myself, it wasn't effective, clearly. That Revolution palette is pretty trash. The shadows are not pigmented. I'm gonna be switching over to this Earth and Ocean palette, and I'm just gonna use this here. This one is shimmer, not matte, but yeah, this is like, it's looking okay blown out, but it's just not really that pigmented. So I'm gonna go over it with Drip Drip. It really is that old base too. I don't know why I was trying to be nostalgic and use that, but probably should not have done that. I'm gonna have to make this the best I can. Okay, so eyeshadow's done, lashes are on. These are 25mm from a lash line I used to run back in 2018. I know they're big and voluminous. We're gonna move on to face now, continue with the rest of the story. So I'm priming with this mattifying hard candy primer. And this is old primer. All these products are kind of old, to be honest, because I don't wear makeup as much as I used to, so hoping that this stuff is not going to be applying patchy or like the freaking eyeshadow. Well, that stick was literally a decade old, or maybe even older than that, so that's why the eyes were patchy. But this is probably a few years old, to be honest, but we're gonna roll with it. Back to Joey. This was like my final straw with Joey at this point, because at this point something very abusive happened. Him and I stopped speaking, and then he popped up out of nowhere like a month or two later. We're hanging out again or chilling or whatever, and again, y'all, this was like a decade ago, so I don't remember like every single detail. And I really, when I say I deaded this guy, like I literally deaded him. And I was hurt by what he did to me for a very long time. So a lot of things, sometimes when you go through traumatic things, your mind and body will like block things out where you can't even remember like the full situation. So I really think that that's what happened with Joey. So foundation, I'm using the Oma Beauty Flawless Skin Perfecting Foundation in the shade Brown Sugar. This is a perfect match, wow. It's really pretty and it smells good. So Joey and I were hanging out probably at the crib because that's where he hid me. And we ended up going somewhere. I can't really remember where we were headed, but I remember us being in the movie theater parking lot. Something had happened. We got into a disagreement within the car, and you know, we kind of had an agreement about something, but he didn't agree with what I did. And he literally, it kind of started as like a little bit of like an argument or whatever, but it really turned physical when this nigga picked me up and threw me out of his car. Now, of course, the car was parked. Thank God it wasn't moving, but we were parked in the parking lot. And, you know, he picked me up, threw me out of his car, yelled at me, cursed at me, and drove off. Straight like that. Now, I'm not gonna get into the reason why he threw me out of his car because it's more of a personal reason. So I'm not gonna get too deep into why he threw me out of his car, but the reason he physically threw me out of his car was ridiculous and uncalled for completely. Probably a month or more. And mind you, in between this month or however long it was without us speaking, now I'm like shook. And I'm gonna keep saying this, y'all. This man was not my boyfriend. He did not claim me. He barely wanted to be seen with me. He did not like me at all. Like, he was literally just using me. He did not like me at all. He could care if I lived or died. I'm so serious. I'm like dead serious. He did not like me. So, and apparently I didn't like myself very much. The way I was acting, I didn't value myself. Taking my beauty sponge. In between this time of us not speaking, I'm like not blowing up his phone, but checking on him, like to see if he's still mad at me and everything like that. I'm like, I'm so sorry, baby. I don't know what I was thinking. You're so right. I was wrong. And knowing that I was not wrong about anything, it was him overreacting. But I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have nobody. I'm like freaking panicking, like let me just apologize so he could talk to me again, even though he was the most toxic person I've ever dealt with in my life. I'm like now scrambling, trying to apologize to get his attention again. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, please talk to me. I was wrong. You were right. The next time I see you, like I'm gonna make it up to you, all this, that, and third. He's ignoring all of my messages. All of my messages. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, I guess he's done. And I was sad, but I was low-key like hyped that he was done because I'm like, I knew he was toxic. So I'm like, you know, this is for the best. He's ignoring me, whatever. So after that, like I said, this was maybe like a month or maybe even like a month and a half of him just being tight at me and not speaking to me. He hits me up just like nothing ever happened. Of course, classic narcissist vibes, just, you know, nothing ever happened. He hits me up. He's like, hey, mama. I was like, hey, you know, just trying to play it off like I wasn't tripping. I was like, what's up, whatever. And then he's like, he had gotten like his license suspended. I'm using some banana powder to set this concealer. He pretty much got his license suspended or something like that in the time we wasn't speaking. So I don't think he was trying to, okay, that's why he wasn't speaking to me. I think he was trying to like show off or something. I don't know what the point was. I don't know. But he was pretty much like, that's what had been going on in his life. He got his license suspended or something. I don't know if it was for, I don't think it was for drinking because he was like 2 months younger than me, which is something I never do. I'm never interested in men that are my exact age or that are younger than me. That's a no-go. So this was just another red flag. I've always liked a man to be at least a year older than me, like just for maturity reasons. And I just was more attracted to that. But you know, and this wasn't a man of God either, so I'm not saying that it's all about age. Like if you find a mature man of God, then you can move a little bit differently. But me personally, you got to be older than me, even if it's by a month. Be older than me. I don't want anybody who's younger than me. That's just not what I do. So again, this freaking guy was like 2 months younger than me, so I don't think he got his license suspended or whatever happened with the license from drinking because he was underage. So maybe it was speeding, I don't know. But anyway, she got that like taken away or something like that. Or a DUI. I actually think it was a DUI. I don't know if it was like for drinking or weed. It was something. So anyway, he said that that's what he had been up to while he wasn't speaking. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, I've just been chilling and working and just trying to, you know, make it seem like I was still living my life while he was freaking ghosting me. We'd link up one last time after that. And I feel like I had to go to him, which is what I was doing anyway. Which is another red flag. Like, oh my gosh, Josh. I've learned so much. It was another red flag because I was always meeting him, linking him, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel like I had to do that. So this was like my final freaking straw. I'm gonna be set my contour with this. He's like, yeah, let's link. You said you were gonna make it up to me the next time you link me or whatever. Oh my gosh, you guys. There's so much more to the story that I can't even tell y'all because it's just too deep and disrespectful. So, but anyways, this is like the ending pretty much. But he's like, yeah, you said you'd make it up to me the next time you link or whatever. So I link him for the last time. And again, it's me putting in the effort. It's me going to him. It's him just could care less about me. I don't even think he would like walk me to my car when I left his crib, or maybe like only a few times. It was just like, he was just a joke, literally. I link him and it's the same old crap that I should not have been doing. Now he's expecting me to go out of my way and quote unquote make it up to him and whatever. So something happened again where I got home. He did something that I just didn't like, and you know, I already told y'all that I had let mad stuff slide with this guy, but he had did something that I did not like. I don't really remember what it was, so to speak. Y'all, I know I'm looking a little crazy. Just give me a second. My lip needs to be done still. But I remember maybe talking to him about it when I got home or texting him or something. He like went off on me. He was like, you're not even my girlfriend. Like, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you any explanation. I made that clear. Like, we're just friends with benefits. And mind you, ladies and gents, this is why God wants us to remain pure and save ourselves for marriage, because this way no lines are blurred, you know? The lines are not blurred, and feelings are not hurt, diseases are not spread. God's way is the way to go. And of course, when you're a teenager, you're not thinking that way at all. You just want to have fun, do you, experience whatever. But even if it was with somebody who was actually worth my time and liked me, it would have made more sense. But like I said, this is just where I was in life. So he pretty much ends up revealing that he's being physical with somebody else, and you know, I don't owe you anything. I made it clear I'm single, blah 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 blah. Now just going off on me, being completely disrespectful, not even trying to hear or understand where I was coming from at all. He just disregarded all of my feelings, everything I had to say. Just completely disrespectful and rude. Like, pretty much like, I don't care. You know, I can use you, but I really don't care what you think. I don't care what you have to say. You know, straight like that, pretty much. So that's pretty much it with Joey. I'm pretty sure that whole exchange happened over text, because the last thing I remember texting him was, please leave me alone, please don't contact me, and he did just that. No apology. I was expecting like at least an I'm sorry or something, like a few days later, a week later, a month later. Nothing. Years and years went by. Never heard from this man again. Never saw this man again, thank God. Very traumatic, y'all. I was heartbroken. I cried my eyes out. The thing about it too, y'all, no one knew about this except for like 2 or 3 of my friends. But like I said, that happened in 2015 and I was not dealing with any guy or anything like that probably until about 2016. So it was like a year later, because that was just so traumatizing and heartbreaking for me. So moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody is not reciprocating your energy, if they're number one disrespectful, any of the things I described in this video, if they're showing symptoms and signs of that, it's just a complete no. Move on with your life. You're better off being alone and knowing who you are in Christ, knowing what all the great things God says about you. When you truly begin to believe those things, you're not gonna let somebody speak to you certain ways, treat you certain ways, show you lack of interest or effort. A man is supposed to care for you. So it just kind of goes to show what type of place I was in, unfortunately, at that time. He needs to show interest. He's supposed to court you, treat you, take you out, show you a good time. You're supposed to be out on the town with him. He's supposed to be proud of you, show you off, not have you hidden, cooped up, at his will, doing whatever he says, speaking bad about you, putting you down, making you feel ashamed about your body. None of that. Like, that's an absolute no-go. Stay tuned for next week. Y'all are gonna be really entertained with Bill. Bill is another one. All of these men played me, but Bill played me like a fool, okay? So stay tuned for next week, and we're gonna get into Bill and what he did to me. So thank y'all so much for watching. If you like videos like this, give this a thumbs up. Leave me some comments. Let me know if you've dealt with a slime ball like this. I'm sorry. God forgive me. Let me know if y'all like this style of video, if y'all like seeing the makeup, or if you just want me to come on done up already and just tell the story, I could do that too, because it was a little bit hard trying to like talk and do makeup at the same time. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.